You know, this is it. Halloween starts it off, the season of eating. From now until January, there's Thanksgiving and there's Christmas with all the big meals and the cookies and the pies and the parties. So today we have Rima Kleiner from Smart Mouth Nutrition. She's going to be answering your questions about how to stay healthy with all the tempting holiday foods. And the good thing, she's not going to say don't eat any of it, because that's not realistic. Rima, let's first and foremost start talking about Halloween, because today is it, right? We've got all the candy and we know we're going to have the candy in the house for the next couple of days. You say that we need to kind of line our stomachs with protein before we start eating candy.
Yes. Yeah. So protein is a macronutrient that we know is important for building muscles, but it's also really important for helping to keep our blood sugar levels stable, which also means keeping our energy levels stable. So by lining our stomachs, our kids tonight or ours throughout the holidays, before we eat those sugary treats, really can help keep our blood sugar levels stable, energy levels stable, and also helps to keep us feeling satisfied so that we're less likely to reach for that sugary sweet.
Okay, and so one of the things is kind of like what is considered like lining the protein stomach. It doesn't have to be like a meat and two veggies or anything like that.
It doesn't. We're not talking about an elaborate meal. I mean, it can be as simple as for tonight, something like some frozen turkey or chicken meatballs. Serve it with some marinara sauce. You throw them in the microwave for a couple of minutes. They're done. It can be as simple as some nuts, along with, here I have yogurt mixed with peanut butter, which I love. You could do add some extra peanut butter, some granola on there. But those are really high protein snacks. So we're not talking about big meals. We're not talking about heavy meals or even, like a huge center of the plate protein. Really just want to get some protein rich, high quality proteins in your diet to line that stomach and really prime you up so you can enjoy those other foods as well without having, that really spike and then that crash afterwards.
Okay. All right. So are there some tricks that we can use for the next couple of days when we have this candy in the house and we're focused on eating it, right? Not just the kids, but the adults too. How do we temper that with these tricks?
Sure. One is, again, lining that stomach with some protein, really important. And, one thing about eating sugar on an empty stomach is that it really does cause a really crazy spike and then crash. And then that kind of leads us to eat a little bit more later, leads us feeling hungrier, kind of gives us maybe that jittery or, really causes energy levels to crash. So eating something sweet on a stomach that you've had a high protein and high fiber meal will really help. Staying hydrated. I think most of us are walking around mildly dehydrated, and sometimes we confuse those thirst signals that our body sends us with hunger signals. And so if we're staying hydrated, drinking water throughout the day, other non-caloric unsweetened beverages, we can really stay ahead of that. And that helps cut down on maybe the overeating that you would do, and you're not confusing those thirst signals for hunger signals. So those are two really just key things you can do over the next few days while you have the Halloween candy in, and then throughout the next couple of months.
All right. So part of it too, I've heard people say, if you don't have it in the house, you're not going to eat it, right? So that is, I'm sure, probably one of the tricks, and then something else is you have a fun jar.
I do, right. So you can have the candy fairy come if you want it out of the house. You can donate it to organizations that accept it, maybe even your kid's dentist office. One thing I do is we do kind of a hide away the candy for a rainy day, so to speak. And actually we'll put favorite pieces of candy in the jar. I hide it away so the rest of the family can't see it. But basically it's there when we go to the movies, or maybe we're going on a long road trip. And we know we're going to want maybe something sweet, a little treat here and there, saves money down the road, also gets that Halloween candy out of your sight for a little while, but you can enjoy it later.
Okay, and so this is the season of eating. I mean, it really does begin Halloween and it goes through all of the other ones, right? With that said, we know we're going to go to parties. We're going to want to indulge in some of those things. We're not going to say we're not going to do any of that. So how can we kind of help ourselves get through this season of eating?
Yeah, that's a great question. Definitely some of those tips we've talked about to get through Halloween, the protein, the hydration. Another thing is moving after meals. So one of the worst things we can do for our health is eat a big heavy meal. Let's say it's loaded with heavy foods, maybe a lot of empty carbohydrate foods, and then sit for hours to be really sedentary. That's really bad on our body. It wreaks havoc on our blood sugar levels. So one of the best things you can do if you did overindulge, maybe more than you were planning to, or starting to feel a little bit sluggish after that heavy meal, get up and move around. Even just moving for 10 to 20 minutes, within maybe ideally that 30 minutes right after you eat, but moving for 10 to 20 minutes is better than nothing. So just getting up, walking around. If it's too cold or too rainy to go for a walk, or you just don't feel like it, you can always do some squats. Even just some movement really helps to prime those muscles so they pull that blood sugar into the muscles and it's not kind of racing around in your blood. And that really can help with weight loss efforts or even just maintaining weight over the holidays.
Okay, so we also need to make sure that we're eating some things with like high fiber and things of that nature. So what types of things are you thinking that maybe we're forgetting about this time of year?
Right. So in addition to that protein, that's really important. We really do want to focus on the high fiber carbohydrates, like you mentioned. And those are, our vegetables, fruit, are going to be really high in fiber as well. And even foods like avocado, really high in fiber. Those nuts that we talked about earlier, high in fiber, beans, seeds, whole grains. So those are going to provide that fiber, which is really important for regularity over the holidays, really important for heart health, and also for keeping blood sugar levels and energy levels stable. And then you also want to include heart healthy fat. And again, that can be that avocado, those nuts that we talked about, fatty fish like salmon, and all of those foods can provide those heart healthy fats that are really important for helping us stay satiated between meals, so we're snacking less, but also really important for keeping our immune systems healthy, which we know is really important as we're moving into these colder months. We're going to be indoors, so really, boosting our immune system and supporting that, and also, really important for healthy skin and hair, so you can be glowing this winter as well.
Of course, we want to glow for sure.